Hello friends, how's it going? So, Endless Heist just ended on Monday, and I thought it would be fun to do a little post-mortem, a little review, and talk about how it went. I competed really hard in this, and as you can see, I placed number 3 in the Hardcore Solo Self-Found as a raider, and I thought it would be pretty cool to talk about this from the perspective of someone who leveled all the way up to 93 and then 98 with a second character after ripping, and looking at the way that Grinding Gear game treats these events, and improvements that they did do, improvements that they could do, and just an overall review of these special events and maybe what they could do better in the future. So let's get right into it. So what you see in the background right now is me playing on the very last day of the competition. It actually ended up getting pretty spicy at the end. The night before, I had gotten up to rank 3, but then as soon as I woke up, the other people that were just behind me had also woken up, and they started pushing as well. So I had to take it basically to the very last hour to stay ahead of them and keep my third place finish. I was actually pretty close to getting second place. If I had woken up an hour earlier, I might have been able to sneak it away from the person there. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that, but I did keep my third place finish. Yeah, honestly, at the very last day with the intensity of the competition and how close it was, that was really where it started feeling like a real competition. We kept bringing up the XP an hour bars on PoERacing.com and checking it every handful of contracts and seeing like, oh, this person is awake. Okay, this person is probably getting lunch. This person, looks like they gave up, or oh, look, somebody even ripped. And we can take that pressure off of ourselves. It was pretty intense. So I had just woken up after only a few hours of sleep. I turned off my mic and I didn't look at chat at all when I was streaming this. I just grinded really, really hard for 8 hours. But the fact that these things are overlapping by 3 days, we also have Atlas Invasion going on right now. The 3-day overlap and the multiple weekends, it has this real weird feel, right? Where you kind of just try to keep up with people until the last 2 days or so, and you just know where you're going to stand, right? And I guess that kind of, that exemplifies what a marathon kind of feels like. But I'm not sure 10 days is really the healthiest amount here. I do understand a little bit of the intention for that, in that, if you can't make it one weekend, maybe you can make the next weekend. But with 5 events back to back, or sorry, like back into back, honestly, so with this overlap here, I think that, you're going to find, you're not going to be able to make every event, but you'll make some of them, right? And if you can't make any of them, then, you probably won't be able to play the game at all, regardless. So I don't know. I feel kind of weird about the 10-day thing, but it is what it is. If you saw my last couple videos, you saw that I originally was playing an Inquisitor, Righteous Fire Inquisitor, and I ripped to Repository, one of the explosive, like those cold balls that look like they're not cold, but they actually are, from the Auto Enforcers. And I swore to myself that that would not happen again. So what I did is I made a raider, of course, my favorite ascendancy. I made a raider. I did Detonate Dead. Check my previous video on Detonate Dead if you want to know why it's so strong and so crazy. The short of it is that with the new Ignite scaling and the way that Corpse Life works, they didn't touch the 6% explosion damage from Detonate Dead from the Corpse Life. You can basically scale your Ignites to absolute crazy numbers with almost no investment. So we're seeing basically every ascendancy in the game able to play Detonate Dead right now. And in a hardcore race, when you don't want to invest too much into offense, that's just going to be a simple, very easy to go to solution. Oh, apparently we had to let the cat in here a little bit. That was a periodic thing. Yeah, maybe I didn't get second place because I had to keep letting Zeus in and out. If we take a look at Endless Heist itself, what could they have done better, I think? So there were a couple things that were really, really cool. I do want to highlight the pros here that were different and kind of made this a unique thing. Over the course of grinding this and figuring out what gave the best XP, it was actually really interesting. So I was originally just sticking with Repository and Tunnels as much as possible, and then sneaking in some Records Office and Bunker when I could. There I go, Bunker's right there. Because Bunker and Records Office, they are a little bit scarier. It's the one with all the Templars that do that shotgun when you open the door, but very, very high density, and it actually is pretty quick to run because you only have to open the doors. You don't have to open the chests within those rooms, and then the monsters will still spawn. Get to the end, grab the thing, and then you just open the doors, do the big AoE, pop the whole thing, and just run straight out. That's originally what I was gonna do, but a very cool additional thing with that, in my chat, I did have the person who was actually top 10 overall, not even top 10 for their ascendancy, and what they told me is they were running Laboratory. So if you run along the edges of laboratory, there's these little vents and a bunch of rats come out. If you run the laboratory very quickly and efficiently and you focus on those rats, as soon as you grab the final reward, you basically just make a beeline straight out of there, just killing the packs as you go. You don't try to like farm anything or hit the edges. I was actually getting more XP running laboratory versus tunnels and repository, which is really, really cool. So with tunnels and repository, you can respawn the robots over and over again. Really, I just went for a single respawn because the diminishing returns, you do get less XP as you do it. But it was pretty cool for like, still, it is kind of scary, but my character was tanky enough. I didn't have to worry about that. That was kind of the backup XP. And then I still kept Records Office and Bunker as kind of like my third tier option. The bad contracts are Smuggler's Den, Underbelly, and Prohibited Library. Those ones just had way too low monster density. If you absolutely had to and you had no other contracts for Huck is the core here, they were fine. But, you know, you basically just ran to the end, try to get new contracts that let you go to the areas that give you more XP. Now, the key here is Huck himself. So the way that Huck works is he gives you base 20% increased experience gain. But if you have +1 to one of his job levels and you get up to job level 4 on one of his jobs, basically that bonus is based on the max job level that you have across all of them. So if you can get an item that gave you +1 job level, normally he maxes out at 3, bring one of those up to 4, that actually goes to 25% increased experience gain. And that actually goes to 30% if you could get a +1/+1 item, which is like nearly impossible. It's really, really hard to hit. But number one thing was try to get a +1 item on Huck, and then you get 25% XP and you run only contracts that Huck can do. What I did there is I focused primarily on lockpicking, brute force, and engineering. Demolition is just slow. You know, he has to place the bomb, walk back, put his shield up. Even with a lot of increased job speed, that was just way too slow. Even at level 98, at the very end of the last day, I was still setting a pace of 40 million XP an hour plus, where I didn't see anyone else getting above like 30 to 35 million because I was focusing really hard on those specific contracts and just the Huck ones that were faster. Now, in terms of things that I would improve, there's a few things. We saw after the first few days, GGG realized that leveling 1 through 68 was awful. It was just straight up awful. Like, I think it took 15 to 20 hours for the average player to hit like level 70. And that's just crazy, right? Like, Heist should be faster XP than regularly doing maps. And that is so much time just to start getting the interesting gear, start getting the stuff that you can level up your rogues, right? I think what they basically did is, you know, you're not supposed to be able to do Heist until, I believe, Act 6 in the game. So they just made it so there's level 1 contracts, but in the game itself, no such thing exists. And you don't even get until around level 60 any of the base items that you can put on your rogues to actually level them up and let them open doors quicker and everything. So you basically have all these rogues that are opening doors really, really slow. Like it basically was harkening back to old Heist, where it just took forever to open doors and it felt really bad. You know, GGG did backtrack that a little bit. They dramatically accelerated the XP. I think they like 4 or 5x'd it, and you could get 1 to 68 in just a few hours after that, which is really, really cool. The one improvement that I would still do there is just start them with like basic gear. You know, just start white gear that has, you know, base 10 to 20% increased job speed. We can throw alchemies at it and try to improve that. And that would have been like the one additional thing that would have made that 1 to 68 way, way better. In addition to that, we did not have unique contracts. And I was really hoping we would. Not only would that open up things like Apex mode, leadership's price, and the fledgling, you know, people could do really interesting builds around those things. But unique contracts are really fun because you have to worry about alert level at all. And you can just open up absolutely every single chest, get in, get out. And it can be a good way to just kind of boost up your drops, because in solo self-found, as in Endless Delve, without a crafting bench, I wasn't playing Trade League. It was pretty challenging to upgrade my gear. Now, I do enjoy that restriction, and I think it's pretty interesting to have to balance all those resources, but the unique contracts, I think, just getting a little bit more loot, I think would be pretty good. In addition, it actually had the opposite issue as Endless Delve did. Endless Delve was infinite resonators and almost no fossils. Endless Heist was infinite fossils and almost no resonators. Maybe that's the balance that GGG intends, but I would really, really ask them if they're going to do an event like this in the future, just please balance that a little bit more. You know, it just feels weird to get a lot of fossils and no resonators or vice versa. If you're going to do this specific event like that, you know, eventually I just skipped fossil rooms entirely if I didn't need it for the monster density, because I knew that I was way out of balance with my stuff, right? Like 1 out of 4 rooms would have just a single resonator, and it just wasn't worth it. Other than that, it was a really cool event. Honestly, I think Heist is very cool content in the game, and I'm happy it's there. You know, unfortunately, due to the way that this event was put together, it did kind of highlight some of the weaknesses of Heist. And I think especially things like unique contracts and making the rogues by default open up the doors a lot quicker. It would have gone a long way to helping people appreciate Heist in the game. I do think GGG did it a little bit of a disservice by not going that one little extra step and making it, you know, faster, smoother, and what it feels like when everything is geared out and feel good by default. I think a lot of people, you know, especially with the XP not in a good place the first couple days, you know, they got turned off, understandably, like totally makes sense. There's a lot of things that can always be improved, and I hope in the future, if they revisit this, that they take some of these suggestions to heart, and they really do it justice, because I think it is, it's a cool part of the game that, you know, I just want more people to like. But yeah, all in all, it was a really good time. I had a ton of fun, and I'm taking Atlas Invasion very, very casually. Not going to be racing this one, but looking at Endless Delirium, I think there's some potential for a lot of fun. So if you're interested, tune in on Friday on Twitch. We have drops enabled and all that, so you can get your free portal, and it's going to be a lot of fun just seeing how crazy Endless Delirium gets. Thanks for watching. Continue enjoying your holidays and resting, and I'll see y'all next time. Goodbye. Thank you.